Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First leg is Steve to throw first. Game on.
Just to get it out of the way, I remember a game between these two guys that took about 7 minutes. Michael van Gerwen won 6-0, averaged about 121, and it was Championship League darts, which we don't do anymore, but I remember it well because I was on the other board playing John Part, and we'd only played 4 legs. It was 2-all, and Michael van Gerwen was already finished. But since then, Steve Beaton has had revenge for that a few other times.
He has. Well, that's a 6-2 win in the UK Open qualifiers this year certainly booked a trend. Van Gerwen had won the 11 previous meetings between them. But Steve Beaton, we've talked about his round-on-round improvement. He's been finding the ton plus averages in the latter stages of his campaign here, and he'll need something similar to give himself a fighting chance against Van Gerwen. 101.26 against Peter Wright, 102.6 against John Henderson. You suspect he may need more than that to see off Van Gerwen here.
Well, what he needs is what he did at the start of the Peter Wright match. It was better than that performance. It really was. It was just that he stuttered a little bit at the end, and that's why his average came down to a meager 101. But 40 points left for the first leg. Ooh, width of a wire away.
Michael, you require 80.
Single 20. Double 20. Double 20 he gets. Perfect start for MVG. It's a break of throw, and the crowd love it.
Yeah, Van Gerwen delivering for the 5,000 so far. I suspect if required, the crowd will play their parts. Should Steve Beaton still be in the frame in around about 10 minutes' time, if it goes to 4-4, 5-4 and what have you, as Michael Smith found in his semi-final, although in the end Michael Smith was beaten. Well, he didn't go that far in his semi-final, did he?
It was a different game when the whistling started, I guarantee you that. But Michael van Gerwen is intent on a 4th successive Dutch Darts Masters, and he wants to feed the 5,000 with victory.
60.
Van Gerwen with the cushion on his throw, backing up or looking to back up that
96.
early break. Michael van Gerwen would have been desperate to just deliver the Michael van Gerwen that everybody knows after that defeat by Phil Taylor. It would have hurt, and this is the perfect way to go about it.
105.
He will be back though for double 10 for a 2-0 lead.
He's going to be under pressure. Steve Beaton has left double top.
165.
So there were a few missed darts at doubles in the Van Gerwen performances so far, but that's not happening now. He's getting chances, he's taking them out and giving Steve Beaton nothing.
Well, you know, people will say whatever happens here, Steve Beaton can take away the pluses, and there'll be obvious spin-offs from this as well. The most obvious being the fact that he is all but assured now of a place in the European Championships, because he was on £3,000 on the European Order of Merit prior to this weekend. £10,000 for making the final. That puts him on to 13, and that will leave him in very good shape indeed.
Bronze to Donis in Belgium.
It's all about the here and now, though, for Steve Beaton, really.
It's
all about chasing the title, chasing the glory.
I think you're absolutely right, Rob. I think dart players sometimes can get lost in what they're trying to do in the future. Let's think about the now. Let's think about just winning a tournament. Let's not think about next year's match play, the Grand Prix, the European Championships.
60.
These two guys want to win this event and take a trophy home.
And just to reiterate, this is Beaton's first European Tour appearance since that success at Players Championship 13 in Wigan in June. His first PDC tournament victory since his European Tour success in Sindelfingen. This is his first final since 2014 in Gibraltar on the European Tour. And Beaton is off the mark with a 52 checkout.
A good leg to chalk up his first leg. It really is. And we were looking through the statistics to find out the last unseeded player to have won a European Tour title, and we think we've got the right one in James Wade at Gibraltar, which is where Steve Beaton was beaten in that final.
Yeah, you don't have to go too far back to find the last qualifier to make it to the final. It happened at the end of June, early July. Mervyn King, who was with us this weekend in the commentary box,
100.
losing in the final there.
Funnily enough, as well, we talked about in the break Steve Beaton winning in Sindelfingen, and he was a seed, but the seeding system was different back then. He was actually the 22nd seed when there were 32 seeds. Nowadays, there are only 16.
That's right. But again, that will be of little concern to Steve Beaton right now. He is chasing Michael van Gerwen rather than accolades of that nature. And he's on 170. Now, we've seen this weekend already. Beaton will not be taking out the big one, and Van Gerwen is lurking backstage on 70 here.
I think even a biased crowd would have stood and given an ovation for that 170. But it's 7-0, not 170, that Van Gerwen subsequently takes out for a 3-1 lead. A solid hold. And he, like we were talking about earlier, he's done the front 9. We're halfway through as far as Michael van Gerwen is concerned. Steve Beaton's still a long way to go.
Yeah, Van Gerwen also halfway to another title for 2017. I think it would be his 13th, the World Championship at the start of the year, the Masters, a UK Open qualifier, Players' Championship tournaments, the German Masters, the Premier League, of course, the World Cup with Barney, the European Match Play, Austria, and the World Series events in Shanghai and Vegas. So 13, unlucky for some, but not for Michael van Gerwen potentially here.
What he's done this year is somebody's career, somebody's great career. That's why it's so ludicrous.
And people are saying it's, you know, it's not on a par with what he achieved last year. You know, it's difficult to maintain those standards when you are Michael van Gerwen. But look at that, we see.
Great counting. Look at that. He knows where the numbers are. 2 treble 19s he needed. A single 19 wouldn't have done. A 25 leaves a finish. If he takes this out, it'll be 6 of the best starts you'll have ever seen in your life.
130.
Well, he takes out the bullseye for good measure anyway.
102's got to go, Steve. Bull or treble 14? Now, tops. And it's going to be 4-1 Van Gerwen.
Unerring, deadly accuracy on tops. Michael van Gerwen, 4 from 6 on his doubles in this final. He's averaging over 100. So too is Beaton, by the way, but maybe that's been embellished by the fact he's only had 1 dart from 2 on his doubles, and Van Gerwen is in the money once again, and it's very, very difficult to see Steve Beaton clawing his way back from this particular position.
Well, it was the look for me when he hit the tops in the last leg. He looked over to his crowd, and it just had a look of inevitability. He knows in his own mind that he's going to win this, and by starting with a 180, he's just compounding the misery of the Bronze de Danse.
Yep, he's looking for 4 titles on the European Tour this year, all of them secured in finals against different players. Jelle Klaas and his opponents in the German Masters. It was Menzel Sulovic in the match play in Hamburg. It was Michael Smith in Vienna. Steve Beaton here.
95. Michael requires
desperately
68.
Just doing all he can, or trying to do all he can just to keep pace with the Van Gerwen, but he's just being left absolutely breathless.
48.
But Van Gerwen will be back for double 10 once again.
Make no mistake as well that Michael van Gerwen is very comfortable playing Steve Beaton because of the pace.
56.
This is his type of game. Don't have time to breathe, just get to the hockey and throw. Fast-paced, brilliant stuff. Double 10, great guide. Doesn't need the guide anymore.
15.
Hang on a minute.
Steve, you
A
require
rare mistake from the world.
Well, that will annoy Michael van Gerwen more than anything. He'll be hopeful that Beaton won't return, and indeed he won't. But still, he hates being inconvenienced, Michael van Gerwen, doesn't he? And he's been slightly knocked off his tracks here. In the madhouse for a 5-1 lead. It doesn't matter really where he goes. You know he's going to get the job done here. 5-1.
Well, it was very inconvenient. You could look at his face. I don't want to come back to the board. I should have hit that. It's like forgetting your shopping bags and have to pay 5p a bag at Sainsbury's. But he found everything he wanted, put it in the bag and went home.
Beaton opening with 56. Van Gerwen piling the pressure on from the word go with a ton 40. Beaton just looks a little bit disorientated here.
78.
Being played against a backdrop of a huge amount of noise in this arena, it really is. And the crowd know that their man is going to get the job done here. They are fully confident that nothing will go wrong here.
I do have to say that Michael van Gerwen has got to sprint for the line. There have been games in the past where he's been in this position, gone to sleep and lost. So it's not inevitable. He has to play well to get over the line.
Let's also give Beaton credit while we can as well. I mentioned the semi-final win against Peter Wright. He also saw off the number 3 seed here this weekend as well, Mensur Suljovic in round 2. So he's done it the hard way to get here.
Well, he's made a lot of players miserable, but the most miserable of those lot is Suljovic, because he's lost a lot of ranking points this weekend. The snooker shot, 147, isn't going to go. Call it in, Rob Malarkey.
Bring it home. Michael van Gerwen, 77 points away. He's now tops away for the title. And there it is. Easy as you like for Michael van Gerwen. It is a 4th European Tour title for 2017.